Hi babes, it's Clarissa. Thank you so much for tuning into our channel. In today's video, I'm going to be giving you a detailed tutorial on our Jelly Tips gel extensions. I'm going to be focusing on how to avoid lifting and giving you a few tips and tricks that are going to make sure your jelly tips last as long as possible. I have a lot to share with you, so let's get into this video. Okay guys, so for today's tutorial, I'll be using the long coffin shape, which is one of my go-tos. And the first thing that you want to do is size the jelly tip to your natural nail. Now you want this to fit perfectly from sidewall to sidewall without you having to apply any pressure, because if you do, it might snap back and that's what's going to cause it to lift. Now the two drill bits that I like to use are the medium sanding band and the fine typhoon. This fine typhoon one is one of my favorites because it's perfect for getting underneath the jelly tip and making sure that we fully prep it so that there's no lifting. I absolutely love this one, but you can also use the 5-in-1 in fine. It's a great option and it's super versatile too. I'm gonna get started on prepping the nail bed, and for that you want to make sure that you not only remove the shine from the nail, but you actually create a rough surface so that the jelly tips can adhere properly. If you don't have a nail drill, don't worry, you can use a 100 grit hand file for this step. You want to be really gentle with this part and not damage the nail bed, so just remove the shine and create that rough surface that we talked about. Make sure that you're doing this to the entire nail, and use the rounded edges of the hand file if you need help getting into the cuticle area and into every nook and cranny. So now let's prep our jelly tips. I have my sanding band and my Beyond Pro nail drill, and I'm going to set it to a speed of 5 RPM. I'm going to remove the shine from underneath the jelly tip, and you want to make sure that you do this thoroughly so that there are no shiny areas left when you move it back and forth, just like I'm doing here. Now this step is super important. Flip the jelly tip over and gently go around the cuticle area to make sure that it's a little bit thinner. This will make sure that it's flush to your natural nail bed and it doesn't have any lifting. As you can see here, we have a much thinner cuticle area than what you start off with. And now if you look at this one here that hasn't been prepped, you can see it's much thicker. Okay, so what if you don't have a nail drill? Don't you worry, I've got you covered. Grab your 100 grit hand file and file around the cuticle area, trying to make it as thin as possible. Like we talked about before, this is super important, so please make sure that you don't skip this step. And you know I've got a hack for you, so grab your primer from your kit and apply it to the area of the jelly tip that will be touching your natural nail. The primer is going to create a sticky surface so that the jelly tip can adhere much better to your nail, and it's going to make sure that they last as long as possible. Here I have two jelly tips, one that has been prepped with a nail drill and the other one that was prepped with the file and the primer hack that I showed you. Now it's really important to remember that the primer is a hack, so the best way to get your jelly tips to last upward of 3 weeks is still going to be to use that nail drill. Okay, so my tips are ready, my nail beds are ready, and now we can get started with our application. So I'm going to dehydrate my nail with the number 1 prep. And I'm going to follow that with my number 2 primer. Now it's time for step number 3, the gel builder. You want to apply a thin, even layer to the natural nail bed, and make sure that you're applying this about a hairline away from the cuticle. For me, a hairline away from the cuticle is like about 1 week outgrowth, so just like this. And I'm going to cure this for 30 seconds under my Beyond Pro Flash Cure LED lamp that comes with the jelly tip starter kit. So here I have my perfectly prepped jelly tip, and I'm going to apply a layer of my number 3 builder gel, just making sure that I'm covering all of the areas that will be touching my natural nail. I'm then going to use the product left on the brush and scrape it onto the jelly tip to ensure that there's enough gel. What this is going to do is fill out any hollow areas and get rid of any of those air bubbles. Okay, it's time to secure the jelly tip to my nail, and the key here is to avoid the air bubbles. So I'm going to apply the jelly tip close to the cuticle and gently and slowly press it down, ensuring that there are no bubbles. Slowly bring the nail to your Flash Cure LED lamp and cure for a full 60 seconds. I would also recommend turning your lamp on right before you secure the tip to the nail, just so that you don't have to shift around, as this can also give you air bubbles, and we don't want that. Also, don't worry if you get some gel outside of the nail. You can always wipe it off before curing, or you can file it off if it has already cured. And this is what the right way to apply jelly tips looks like. You can see the cuticle is nice and clean. There are no ridges and no bubbles. Okay, so you guys know I love to be as thorough as possible, so I just want to show you guys what the wrong way to apply jelly tips looks like. I also think this is going to be a great way for you to see if you're doing something wrong and help you fix it. So here we go. Here I'm doing the exact same thing I was doing earlier with my drill, but let's just say that I'm trying to rush and not really take my time filing it. As you can see, it looks like there's a rough surface, but when I move it back and forth, we can still see there's a little bit of shine coming through. Prep is the key to making your nails last, so take your time and really make sure that your tips don't look like this. So this is what the right way looks like, and this is what the wrong way looks like. I'm using one of my tips from earlier that wasn't properly prepped, and as you can see, I'm applying the gel inside the tip, but there really isn't enough to actually fill in that apex. So you may think it looks like enough gel, but once you cure it, you will realize that there are a ton of air bubbles, and this will definitely cause your jelly tips to lift. Not only that, but the moisture can also get trapped inside and cause your nails to turn green. So make sure you take care of these air bubbles as soon as possible. And if this does happen to you, you can simply remove the jelly tip by filing it or soaking it off. Or if the gel isn't fully cured, you may also be able to pop it off, but don't force it too much, because if it has already fully cured, it could damage your natural nail. If you're a little bit rougher with your nails like me and you still want them to last long, follow these quick steps. First, you want to flip your finger over and apply your number 2 primer to the underside of the jelly tip. Repeat this step on all 10 fingers, and when you're done, you can apply a thin layer of the builder gel. Cure under your lamp for 60 seconds and allow the gel to fully cure. Now, because we are using gel builder, you will notice it will come out of the lamp with a sticky inhibition layer. We can easily get rid of this by applying a layer of the number 4 top coat and curing it for 60 seconds. And this right here is exactly what your jelly tip should look like. You can see it's smooth, it's perfectly placed onto the cuticle. She has a beautiful apex that not only helps with the strength of the nail, but it gives you a perfect nail structure. Okay, now it's time for the fun part and we can get creative. I'm going to file my nails to sharpen those edges, and you especially want to do this if you're adding that builder underneath the jelly tip. And I'm going to be using this 100 grit buffer just to remove the shine from the top of the jelly tip and make sure that it's properly prepped for gel polish. Today I'm doing a white and pink V-tip, and I'm using one of my favorite polishes. This one is called Lunar Later, and it's number G632. And for the tip, I'm using pure white, and that one is number G401. Now let me just tell you, it is a true struggle to find a good pink and white combination that I like, and I just cannot stay away from this one. It's my absolute favorite, so I highly recommend it. And to finish it all off, I'm going in with a thin, even layer of my number 4 top coat and curing that for a full 60 seconds. And here you have it, babes, a perfect jelly tip application, even if you don't have a nail file or you're doing this in the comfort of your home. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. I hope that you found this helpful and learned something new. If you did, make sure that you give this a thumbs up and also leave a comment down below letting me know what you want to learn about next. See you in the next video, besties. Bye!